Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today that could shape the rest of your life. Everything you want, success, trust, respect, opportunity, it all depends on your reputation. Now I know what you're thinking. Jim, I've got goals, I've got talent, I've got dreams. That's great, but let me ask you this. What do people say when you're not in the room? What do they remember after you've walked away? Because that, my friends, is your reputation. And your reputation is the echo of your habits, your values, your follow through. See, reputation is like a report card life hands back to you based on your daily behavior. You don't write it, but you sure do earn it. You can be the smartest person in the room. You can have the best ideas, but if people can't trust your word, if you don't show up when you say you will, if you cut corners or disappear when it matters most, then all that talent just sits on the shelf collecting dust. You don't get rewarded for intentions. You get rewarded for what people know they can count on you for. Now let me tell you a little formula I've lived by. Character plus consistency equals reputation. Let me say that again. Character plus consistency equals reputation. One without the other won't do. A good heart but no follow through, that won't build a legacy. Great performance once, but unreliability the rest of the time. That won't win loyalty, but when your actions match your words, day after day, that's when you become known as someone people can depend on. Let me give you a simple example. Think of a farmer. He doesn't just go out one day, throw some seeds, and walk away. No, he tills the soil, plants carefully, waters daily, watches for weeds, and waits. And over time, his name becomes known. That's the man who always brings the harvest. That's reputation. It's earned slowly and lost quickly. It's easy to underestimate its value when things are going well, but let one crisis hit, and you'll find out fast whether your name carries weight or suspicion. And let me tell you, doors open faster for people with a good reputation than for people with just a resume. A resume gets you considered, a reputation gets you trusted, and when you're trusted, you're invited. People will say, get them in the room. I don't care what it costs. They deliver, they show up, they do the right thing. You can't buy that kind of credibility. You earn it in the trenches. Now some folks say, but Jim, people misunderstand me. Well, here's the truth. You don't control people's opinions, but you do control your conduct. And over time, conduct wins. Time exposes everything. The wrong kind of reputation will follow you like a shadow in every deal, every room, every relationship. But the right kind of reputation, that becomes your shield. It speaks for you even when you're silent. Here's my advice. Guard your reputation like your life depends on it, because your future probably does. How do you do that? Keep your promises, even the small ones. Show up early, stay a little late. Speak truth even when it costs. Do the right thing, especially when no one's watching. And every now and then, do something excellent, just because you can. Build a reputation not for flash, but for faithfulness. Not for talk, but for truth. And not for being liked, but for being trusted. Reputation is the shadow of your character. It follows you wherever you go. This statement captures a profound truth about how we are perceived in the world and what those perceptions are based on. It suggests that while your character is internal, made up of your values, your actions, your decisions, your discipline, your reputation is what people see, what they remember, and what they pass along to others. Just like a shadow, it's formed by the light of your conduct. You don't have to say a word for your reputation to speak loudly. It enters the room before you do and lingers long after you leave. And just like a shadow, you can't hide it or run from it because it's a direct reflection of who you really are in practice. Many people try to manage their reputation with clever words, fancy titles, or staged appearances. But a reputation built on image instead of integrity is a shadow cast by artificial light. It disappears the moment truth shines in. Your character, on the other hand, is forged in quiet decisions, in unseen moments, in how you treat people when there's nothing to gain. When those moments are consistently aligned with honesty, humility, responsibility, and kindness, your reputation becomes a strong and reliable echo of your true self. When your private life and public life are in harmony, people don't just trust what you say, they trust who you are. Reputation can open doors or slam them shut. It can draw opportunities to you or drive them far away, not because it has power of its own, but because people naturally respond to what they believe about your character. If someone is known for keeping their word, for finishing what they start, for staying calm under pressure, for honoring their commitments, they begin to build a reputation of trust, and trust is the bridge between who you are and the world around you. Without trust, people hesitate. With trust, they invest. Reputation is the summary of your trust account in the minds of others. People may not know everything about you, but they know how you made them feel. They remember whether you followed through. They recall if you were honest, if you showed up, if you treated them with respect. These interactions, over time, become the substance of your reputation. That's why reputation, like a shadow, stretches from every moment of the past into the present and into the future. You can't erase it in a day. You can't redesign it overnight. You shape it by your consistent pattern of choices. Character produces reputation the way a tree produces fruit. The tree doesn't announce its goodness. It simply bears good fruit and lets time prove its worth. In business, reputation determines partnerships, customer loyalty, and the willingness of others to take risks on your word. A resume might get you in the door, but a reputation gets you to the table. When you're not in the room, your reputation speaks for you. When people make decisions that affect you, it's your reputation they consider, not just your skills. That's why it's more valuable than money, more crucial than talent, and more lasting than appearance. Character may be invisible, but reputation is visible proof that character has left its mark. Every time you make a promise and keep it, your reputation grows stronger. Every time you tell the truth when it would be easier to lie, your shadow becomes clearer. Every time you admit a mistake and make it right, your reputation gains weight and depth. But the opposite is true as well. Small lapses, dishonesty, laziness, disrespect. These begin to twist the shadow, to create doubt, to crack the image, and once damaged, reputation is difficult to restore. That's why guarding your character is the best protection for your reputation. If you focus on being the right kind of person, your reputation will reflect it naturally. People are watching, even when you think they aren't. The way you talk to the waitress, the way you react to criticism, the way you act when things go wrong, all of it is shaping the shadow that follows you. You don't build a reputation in a day, and you don't lose it in a single moment, but both building and destroying it are the result of habits repeated over time. Repetition builds reputation. And those habits come from the root of your character, what you believe, what you value, and what you do when it counts. The interesting thing about reputation is that you can't demand it, and you can't fake it for long. It's not about being liked by everyone. It's about being consistent in your values. People may not agree with you, but they'll respect your integrity if it holds steady. They'll admire someone whose reputation says, "I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I live by it." That kind of reputation becomes a powerful force. It protects you in times of uncertainty. It attracts the right people, and it builds a legacy that endures. When you enter a new space, your reputation precedes you. When you leave, your reputation remains. That's why people with strong character rarely have to defend themselves. Their reputation does it for them. It's built one decision at a time, in the small details and in the hard moments. It's not about being perfect. No one is. But it is about being honest, being accountable, and being faithful to your values. A consistent reputation based on character becomes a magnet for trust. Reputation also multiplies. One good decision today may be remembered years from now. One act of integrity can inspire others to trust you with more responsibility. One moment of courage can elevate your standing in the eyes of those who matter. In contrast, one act of selfishness can stain years of good work. It's like a shadow touched by darkness. It spreads faster than you expect. That's why maintaining your reputation isn't about polishing your image. It's about refining your character. If the source is clean, the shadow will be clear. People often wonder why some succeed while others struggle, even when they have the same talents and resources. The answer is often hidden in reputation. Those who are trusted move forward faster. Those with a solid reputation get offered chances others don't. They're invited into conversations, granted responsibilities, given freedom to grow, because their reputation has proven them dependable. And that dependability comes from the choices they made when no one was watching. In the end, reputation is not just about how others see you. It's the natural result of who you choose to be every single day. When you invest in your character, your reputation will take care of itself. When you walk in truth, your shadow will follow in strength. And when the time comes for others to decide if you're worth trusting, your reputation will answer with the quiet authority of a life well lived. Everything worthwhile, trust, influence, opportunity, depends on the consistency of your reputation. That's not just a clever phrase, it's a foundational principle of how life works, both personally and professionally. No matter how skilled, talented, or passionate someone is, if their reputation is inconsistent, if their character cannot be relied upon, then the most valuable things in life will slowly slip through their fingers. Because trust isn't built in grand gestures, influence doesn't come from one impressive moment, and opportunity rarely lands in the lap of the unpredictable. All of these things come to those who have proven over time that they can be counted on, and that proof is delivered through a reputation that is steady and dependable. Trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. Whether in business, friendships, leadership, or family, trust is what holds things together, but trust is fragile. It doesn't respond well to inconsistency. A person who says one thing and does another cannot be trusted. A person who shows up strong one day and disappears the next will never earn deep trust. People don't put their faith in someone because of what they promise in the moment. They put their faith in someone because of what they've consistently done in the past. That's the power of a solid reputation. It's not formed in the good times alone. It's shaped when things are tough, when pressure is high, when decisions cost something. When people see that your response is consistent across the board, that you don't shift with the wind, that your values remain intact under pressure, they begin to trust not just your words, but your character. And from that trust flows influence. Influence doesn't belong to the loudest voice. It doesn't belong to the most charming speaker or the most energetic personality. Influence is the natural outcome of consistency. People are drawn to those they can believe in. They listen to people whose actions have backed up their words time and time again. If your advice today is different from your behavior tomorrow, your influence will vanish. But if your voice reflects your life, if your principles match your patterns, you'll gain more than attention. You'll earn respect, and respect gives rise to influence. That's why some of the most powerful leaders are not the ones who shout from the front, but the ones whose daily example has silently earned a reputation of integrity and reliability. Opportunity is another reward of consistent reputation. It often seems like opportunity favors the lucky, but look closely, and you'll see something else. The people who receive opportunities again and again are usually the ones who have built a strong track record. They've proven over time that they can handle responsibility, that they deliver results, that they do the right thing even when no one is watching. So, when the big doors open, people naturally turn to them, not because they are flashy, but because their reputation says, you can count on this one. Opportunity is risk, and no one wants to hand an opportunity to someone they can't predict. The one who is inconsistent, who cuts corners, who changes with the crowd, they may have potential, but their reputation holds them back. On the other hand, the one whose name brings confidence instead of question marks will find themselves chosen more often than not. Consistency in your reputation doesn't mean you never make mistakes. Everyone fails, everyone falls short, but what matters is how you respond. The person with a strong reputation is the one who owns their failures, learns from them, and keeps showing up with honesty and humility. They don't blame others, they don't run from responsibility, and they don't make excuses. That kind of consistency builds trust faster than any show of perfection. People respect those who are real, who admit wrong, and who keep growing in the right direction. The key is in not being one person today and another tomorrow. A reputation is formed when your actions match your values, day in and day out, across situations, across seasons, and across challenges. People remember patterns. They don't remember your best day or your worst moment as much as they remember how you showed up over time. The friend who's always there, the coworker who always follows through, the leader who tells the truth even when it's hard, the parent who models what they teach, the team member who stays steady under stress. These are the people who, through quiet and consistent action, have created reputations that others rely on. And that reliability becomes a magnet for all the things we call success. But more importantly, it becomes a reflection of a life that is aligned, a life where there's no difference between the public and the private, between what's promised and what's performed. When you live with that kind of consistency, people don't have to guess who they're getting. They don't walk on eggshells or wonder if today is a good day. They already know who you are because you've shown them not once, but 100 times. And it's that knowing, that confidence in your reliability, that makes others open their hearts, their trust, and their doors to you. You don't have to chase opportunity when opportunity already knows your name. It's tempting to think that a single grand achievement or an occasional moment of excellence is enough to define your path. But the truth is, inconsistency erases excellence. The athlete who trains hard but cheats once. The entrepreneur who builds brilliantly but cuts one dishonest deal. The speaker who inspires crowds but lives a double life. The inconsistency infects the reputation and overpowers the good. People don't forget inconsistency, especially when trust is broken. That's why guarding your reputation with consistency isn't optional. It's essential. Your words matter, but your pattern matters more. If your life echoes your promises, your reputation becomes unshakable. But if your actions create confusion, your reputation becomes fragile. It can take years to build and seconds to lose, and once damaged, it takes even more consistency to rebuild. People want to know, can I count on you when it's not convenient? Can I trust your word when no one else is watching? Will you do what's right even when it costs something? Your answers to those questions, lived out over time, form the consistency your reputation depends on. Character is the foundation, but consistency is the mortar. One without the other creates cracks. You might have the right intentions, but if you're not consistent, people won't know where you stand. And if they don't know where you stand, they won't stand with you. They'll hesitate, they'll pull back, and they'll choose someone else. But the person who consistently honors their commitments, treats others with respect, owns their mistakes, and walks the talk becomes someone others rally around, someone others want to follow, someone others recommend. That's how trust is formed. That's how influence spreads. That's how opportunity grows. There are no shortcuts to building a reputation like that. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a willingness to do the right thing again and again, even when no one notices, even when it would be easier to cut corners, because the truth is, someone is always noticing, someone is always watching, and every small decision is shaping your future more than you realize. If you want the rewards that last, the trust that goes deep, the influence that spreads wide, the opportunities that change your life, then build the kind of reputation that is as solid on the inside as it appears on the outside. Let consistency be your signature. Let your life say what your words can't. And let the legacy of your reputation carry you forward into everything worthwhile.